What's going on, everybody? Just wanted to take some time to introduce you to one of our clients, Mike Spence, who kind of just completed going through our foundations program, and I wanted to share his story with you. Mike, thanks for spending your time with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to be here.
Cool. So for everyone that doesn't know you, can you kind of take the elevator pitch on who you are? Who do you serve, and what have you historically been selling them?
Yeah, Mike Spence, based in Louisville, Kentucky area. Been business process technology type guy my whole career. I think the most important roles I play have been married for 30 years. And I have 4 kids, so that's the cool part, I think, of my life.
You said
but
four?
As far
four
as
kids?
work, I have 3 kids and 4 grandkids.
3 kids, 4 grandkids. Got it.
Yeah. And then, but as far as the business stuff goes, traditionally I was with a Microsoft partner for about 8 years, and we built that to a pretty good sized organization. And I really had a heart to go out and start Flow, which was just going to be business consulting, going in, helping sort of the larger end of small companies or small, medium-sized companies that need to grow. They just feel stuck. And I wanted to go in with a people, process, technology type of offering. And I think if we can get people, process, technology in alignment, we can create a flow. And I just found a lot of companies were struggling with that. So started in 2017 doing that, and grew, but frankly struggled with, it was all me all the time. A lot of me doing it for them. So that's historically, in a very quick pitch. Sorry.
Yeah. And obviously you alluded to it a little bit, but I mean, the everything was you. Like what were you actually experiencing inside the business that, I guess, caused you to kind of seek out a solution in the first place?
Just trying to understand how I could take what I know and pack it up in such a way that the market might be able to, first of all, would want that it was going to be a valuable offering at all. And then if they did take it on, what sort of things could I get them to do? Because I really wanted to coach them, teach them through a process, versus what I was doing was going in and doing an assessment of sorts of their business, their business model. And then I would take the notes. I would create their customer journeys, their flow charts. I would do a technology assessment, and I would do all the pieces. I would ask them a lot of questions, spend a lot of time. I would document everything, spending a lot of time. Then I would come up with a strategy to spend a lot of time, and then eventually I would implement everything we talked about through me or my company or my partners. And it was pretty much me doing every piece of everything, and it doesn't scale. So,
was that like in-person stuff ever?
Yeah, it was quite a bit, before pandemic and all that kind of stuff set in. So when it started in 2017, going through 18 and 19 with growth, started having a team that I could then hand off some basic tasks and stuff. But even then, really couldn't find anybody that I would be able to hire to hand stuff off to or delegate to, because my stuff was so strategic. It's built up of all my experience over all these years that I see things a certain way. But then, we moved to doing more things virtual after, like a lot of people did in 2020.
With a lot of it being kind of strategic and kind of falling on your shoulders, like what was like the result of that, like either in the work, like from a company growth and or even at home? Like how is it impacting kind of the life and the business by having all of these things be focused on or dependent upon you?
Well, I mean, part of it was that I love what I do, and that when you love what you do, it doesn't a lot of times feel like work. But spending a lot less time with my family. They're, like I said, they're grown and everything else, but I love spending time with them. But in those early years, really cranking it up. I mean, I was it was so important. I'd go into a client, we'd have great sessions, and now they want to implement ERP or some sort of technology solution, document processes. When I'm doing all of that, they're counting on me, right, to get this stuff done. And so, I mean, gosh, I'd work 14, 16-hour days, 7 days a week, just making sure that I delivered what I promised I would. The great news is, although it was a lot of work, a lot of hours early on, you know, a lot of success though, still have all those clients doing things for them, but it really got down to, there's got to be an easier way to do this. There's got to be a better way to scale, not just replicating myself as far as hiring someone just like me to take a lot of these things on, because I did that through partnerships and stuff, but still it wasn't the way I would potentially do it. My method, if you will, had no way of really walking someone through the steps I would take, because you go in through at a high level of here's how you would evaluate technology, and I have a way that I do that. But once you start learning what they have, all these new questions come up. So then it's a choose your own adventure after that.
Yeah.
That
A lot of it's in your head.
all of it was in my head. Yep.
Cool. So kind of flash forward. So I kind of want to get into the stuff that you applied once, you know, once you kind of joined Foundations. But I know for those watching, and you know, this is a little bit of our, I'll say shameless plug, but like you know, you had an opportunity where you spoke with our team, you'd seen whatever from us, you know, you had been kind of feeling some of these things, experienced some of these problems that I know many other people, you know, face. Like, what was that feeling, you know, right before you like decided to hop into Foundations? Like what was kind of, what was the state of the affair, state of the union, if you will, on like, how was business? Like, how close were you to, like, were you close to burning out? Like, were you like, how was home situation with all those kiddos and grandkiddos?
Yeah. Well, I'd say like right before, I mean, first of all, I just started looking for ways, like how really get into systemize it. I started searching more about how can I systemize the business, and that's when I first started learning about you know, alt agency and you. And I probably watched for a year, probably just followed you on you know, YouTube, and just liked what it was, you know. And it's one of those where I think a lot of people, like, as if they're like me, watch it, understand it. Oh my gosh, he's talking about it. I love all of it, and never taking the next step for like a year. And maybe even at times going, man, I agree with so much that he's saying. Maybe I'll try that. Because you're very generous with helping people understand, you know, that there is a way, there is hope, and you even give some steps. You give steps, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna try some steps, but that's really not, that's not Foundation. That is not the program. I mean, it's great stuff, and I think I just tried to learn it and implement it on my own for a while. And after about a year of following you and doing that stuff, I ended up just saying, you know what, I feel I need to simplify like my business, because I'm a, you know, a Zoho rep, which is a suite of products and technology, Trainial. There's a lot of platforms that I use that I introduce to clients, and that I started getting leads from all these other partners. And that would sound like a good thing, but it wasn't. All it did was it added to the burden. It just added to, yeah, I'm getting leads and I'm getting some people I can talk to, and I've got some great clients, but it's still me. It's still just all me doing all of it. So I finally, you know what, I think I watched one last video of yours or something, and it was just like, look, if you're interested in at least learning what we do and how it works. And, you know, people see that kind of advertising all the time, and they, yeah, right, I give you my name and number, you're going to do this, you're going to badger me. It was not like that. So anybody listening to that, I mean, I finally took this step of reaching out to your team. It was exactly what you said. It was no pressure. They wanted to understand the business, ask a lot of great questions, and actually, it was more asking if I would be a good fit for you rather than selling me anything. They wanted to make, you guys wanted to make sure that you could help, and it was not a long exhaustive call, but it was so many really great questions that they asked that really convinced me that, yeah, I need to just do this.
Love it.
So,
Love it. Yeah. And I mean, the stuff that you do is, I mean, obviously, as you now know, we're pretty like systems oriented.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
people like yourself are so important to like the found not only the foundations of most businesses, but like the ability to be scalable, like having these tools and having them all connected and working together and, you know, in a clean, you know, optimized way, is
Yeah.
super valuable. So like the ability to kind of multiply your efforts through, you know, codifying what you know, all of that experience, and kind of sharing it with more people, you know, there's just such opportunity to help a lot of people that need it. So it was really exciting. Did you, you know, good conversation with the team? Like, was there any hesitation to like to hop in? I mean, I know you had been kind of trying some stuff on your own for like a year, watching some of the, you know, the YouTube content, but like, was there a hesitation to hop in? Like, what was your feeling when you're like, all right, like I'm doing this?
You know what? It was funny is that there was hesitation, of course, up until I booked the call just to share what my, you know, what my business was doing, what I needed,
Mhm.
where I wanted it to go. But pretty quickly during the call, I had no hesitation. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted to continue to answer questions, so you guys had a full picture. But
Yeah.
I mean, at the conclusion of that, it was like, yeah, where do I sign? This is going to be awesome. Because right before then you asked, yeah, I think I got to a point of if this is what it's going to be, then you know, I really didn't really start a company as much as I created a job for myself.
Hmm.
And I can go get a job. I
Yeah.
felt anyway. I can go
Yeah.
work somewhere, but if I really want to really grow something, then
Yeah.
I gotta do this. And
Yeah.
yeah, during the call, there was no hesitation, and
I love it.
it filled me with hope. You know,
I love
it's
it.
like
Okay.
this
So
can work.
so you decide to hop in, jump in into foundations, and obviously, oh well, now we have to do work. So like, kind of, if you
Mhm.
can flash back to a couple months ago, when you were just kind of jumping in,
Yeah.
like when you first dove in to doing the work, like were there any, like what was like the first big aha moment that you had kind of going through the process?
The very first, I'd say, impression or thing that just got me fired up was the talk that you gave around roll up sleeve, do the work. Look, we're gonna be a coach here. We're
Yeah.
going to, and I guess a lot of people need it. Maybe they won't admit it, but I need that. I
Mhm.
need I need, you know, coaches and people that I would invest money with
Mhm.
to give me an honest look and give me the straight truth. Because, you know, you got a lot of people that'll just tell you, you know, what you want to hear. I guess it feels
Yeah. Yeah.
good, but I want somebody to look at it and go, you're doing it wrong, or you could do this better. And never rude, nothing like that, but honest. That
Mhm.
was the very first few modules before we even got into how to pack up anything. I was hooked by, we're just going to give it to you straight. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Cool. Yeah, it's definitely needed, for sure, for most people, even those that don't want to admit it. So, you started packaging up some stuff. Like, kind of, what were your takeaways from that process compared to, you know, you had this thing, a lot of it was custom dependent upon you. You start going through this exercise of, you know, packaging up your core offer.
Yeah.
Like, what were some of the realizations you were having as you were kind of going through that process?
Just the framework. Yeah, it's simple but not easy. It's the way that you go through the the different courses to understand how do I get it out of here, and not just on paper. How do I get it out of here and organized in such a way that it forces you to think about how to walk someone through what's in your head, all your
Mhm.
experience. How do I pack this up so that I can break it down into transformations? The way that, you know, you talk about that in a framework of the 9 steps and the
Yep.
different transformations and how you would document. Always with this encouragement, which is going to be, I'll tell you more about that. Is you're always improving it. Because my first one out
Mhm.
of the gate, I'm like, I think this is what it is. Pretty excited. Submitted it for review,
Yeah.
and Ryan was like, you're doing way too much. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it
Yeah.
when he said, he goes, you're trying to be everyone's savior, and you're
Yeah.
not. I was like, I love that. That's so
Yeah.
good. Because I
I
was
mean,
trying to solve every problem.
did that feel pretty accurate?
Oh man, spot on. Actually, you know what's funny? He went on to say some other things, highly encouraging though. I mean,
Mm,
because he was in a similar role in different things in his experience, so he got what I was trying to do.
yeah,
I'm really trying to take someone through digital transformation. You know, they have
yeah,
old software, old tools that are not integrated. There's no workflow. There's no hope of integrating their tools together. So just there's all kinds of issues happening. And so what my first draft of this that you guys have in the process of submitting it to the team to give a review, a video review back.
yeah,
You know, you got to pick it apart and said, you're just doing way too much. There's too
yeah,
much in here. You need to simplify. And then talk about that. You're trying to solve every problem.
yeah.
So I took it great, but I had my wife listen to it and she was just laughing the whole time going, wow, this guy, he nailed you. It's like, I know, isn't it great? So yeah, I think it was healthy for me to share that with her as well. It's like, look, I'm seeking help. I've got people that know what they're doing that's helping me through this.
That's funny.
So yeah, awesome.
You're definitely not the first person that has shared the stuff that you're working on with their spouse, and we've had the pleasure of meeting and speaking with a handful of spouses that were like, they're like, thank you so much. Like, finally, like, I've been telling him this for years and now he won't, like, finally he listens, sort of thing. It's pretty funny. So now kind of move forward a little bit. Like, you started packaging that up, you know, started iterating on that, and you get into kind of the sales conversations and things like that. I know you did, you know, you had some challenges in raising the price, started off a little bit slow, but then you kind of came around and started getting some more deals. Can you talk a little bit about like some of the challenges of, I think we challenged you to raise your price a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
what was that experience like?
Well, what's interesting about it, the way that really kind of came about, as I submit it to Ryan and he comes back and says, you know, the ideas, repacked it up, you know, iterated that thing. I think I'm on my seventh one already. And understood it. And now I got it. And then you guys have that encouragement of now go to market, which was a struggle for me because I wanted to be perfect. I want every step figured out. I want everything. And that's part of the program is like, you got to get over that. You got to run a pilot. You got to get some honest feedback from customers. And man, mentally, I'm like, nope, not doing it. Nope, not going to do it. But after a lot of encouragement from you guys, I'm like, okay, here's what I'll do. I have a current customer struggling with some of the things that's in my offer. And I'm just going to have a conversation with them and say, here's what I'm putting together. You know, these are the steps. I mean, as I was able to talk through the transformational stuff that I offer because of what I went through and because of Ryan's feedback, your feedback, your coaching, to the point when I gave it to them, they said, "Oh, that sounds amazing. We need it." Like, oh, okay, I'll give you a proposal, which I hadn't written before because I hadn't gotten to the proposal step yet. So I wrote one, sent it to them, and I priced it at $7,500, just to be honest, and just try to use some hourly rate based on how many hours I think it would take me because I was going to do a lot of work. And I mean, they didn't even have a conversation with it. I just sent it to them to review in a digital kind of a way to sign it if they liked it, and they. Yeah, it sent it to them like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and at like 5:30, I got a notification they already signed it and hit the pay now button and paid for it up front. I'm like, okay, well, I got my first one, and I should have raised the price because that was too quick. I didn't get
And
any.
then didn't you go raise the price for the other ones?
Yeah. So I started down the road with these guys. I knew what steps I'm going to take them through, but I didn't have all my templates figured out. I didn't have all my exercises figured out yet. But I knew what I was going to do for the first step. So, all right, we'll do a kickoff call and take you through that, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to make the rest of these things work. In the middle of doing that, I had a call from somebody that I just thought, you know what? It was a guy who knew, he was introducing me to another company, and he said, this is what they're struggling with. I'm like, you know, I've got this offer that I'm walking another company through right now, and I don't know if you can afford it. It's 15,000. I just doubled it. Just low go here because what I was looking for, I'll get some pushback, and then I'll have to use my sales chops a little bit to see what kind of where I am. And got him on the phone, walked him through. He had a few questions, signed up and paid for it. Again, just up front. So, okay. And then the guy that referred me the next day said, I heard, because he was on the call, he said, I appreciate you helping them out. It's awesome. A lot of what you talked about, we're struggling with. What was it, 15 that you said it was? Like, yeah. Okay, well, just send me an invoice and let's go. Send me the proposal. And what's cool about that is the proposal I wrote the first time, I just changed the price, of course, on the second one.
Yeah.
But I've just used that same proposal over and over, where I would spend a lot of time customizing proposals to send to people. Where this one, it's the same proposal because it's the same offer, right? So just that alone saves me hours of creating custom proposals. And then it was a few weeks after that, somebody went to introduce me to another business that was struggling with different things, and I started talking about this, and they paid for it. So I've sold it 4 times, 3 for 15 and 1 for 7, in pretty rapid succession. So
I love it. What
pretty amazing to me.
Share a little bit about, like, so I know a lot of people that, one, go through foundations, and 2, are going to see this, are probably like you in the fact that they when we're like, all right, go sell it, and you're like, wait, what? Like, is this actually ready, or to be ready to be sold? And you had some of that internal resistance. The systems people, the kind of creatives are like, no, it needs to look pretty. Can you talk through, I know we encouraged you a little bit, but outside of the encouragement, now you did kind of take imperfect action, so to speak, your experience in doing that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, what I've learned, and what I would encourage anybody watching this, is that if you're in the program, do it. Just do the step, because you and your team have been here, done that a million times. And you say that through the training, but I just needed to get over myself, perfectionist, and say, you know what, there's a reason they're saying go. And I just need to go. So you just really got to mentally just make yourself do it. If you're a perfectionist, which I am, I want it to be fantastic, because I want to deliver value. But I was just convinced I can deliver value. It maybe take me longer on these first ones, but I'm going to go for it. And I'm glad I did, because the first iteration of the 9-step document I put in front of the first client already changed before I gave it to the second one. The steps I had were a little bit, they were a little out of order. I renamed a couple things. I jumbled things up to make them flow a little better. So I'm glad that I went and got the feedback from the first client. The second client, I ran them through an exercise. We do a technology assessment, a systems assessment, things like that. And I'm giving them homework. I'm creating templates, making them do it, saving me a ton of time. You go collect the data, and I'll tell you how to do it, versus me doing it. There were a couple exercises I created for the first 2 clients that they both came back with similar feedback on. This doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. So it caused me to have to rethink how I approach that step, that exercise. I created a couple of new things. In the second, or the third and fourth client got the new version, and they loved it. But I only was able to get there because I went ahead and took the leap and got the feedback from the first 2. So the second 2 were much smoother. But if you don't take the leap, you can't get there.
Yeah. You mentioned that as you kind of, hey, the client came back, they didn't understand this. And then you kind of, you serve them, right? You went, oh, that's right. Let me improve this, which obviously now that improvement helps the future client. But can you talk to maybe any shares on what was the response from the clients going to this experience, specifically around when you actually started handing them stuff to do? Was there any, how did that go? Because I know some people are afraid of well, my client's not going to want to do anything. When you brought them involved in the process, you said that. So what was your experience doing that?
I had the same reservations. I'm like, wow, I'm taking everything that I just kind of know how to do, and I'm going to try to pack that up and give it to someone else to do. Thought of me assigning my clients homework. You're paying me and I'm giving you work to do. I was hesitant only because I didn't think they'd want to do it. But again, I signed up for the program. I want to do it step by step. And what I found to be true is they are more than willing, because they want transformation. They want the help. They want the business outcomes and the results that I'm talking about. And if I say, as their coach or, taking them through this, that the way you're going to get results is you need to roll up your sleeves and you need to get to work, and I'm going to show you how. Here's homework to do. They would get it done. I never had pushback on giving them anything to do. I probably could have given them more. Honestly.
Yeah. So it sounds like you, like just by the setting of the expectation, like, you said things like, hey, you got to roll up your sleeves. I'm going to show you, like, by using that language, that helped set the client in motion to kind of play by your rules, so to speak.
Yes, I will say the first one was not as smooth, maybe not even quite, maybe the second one. And it's because, and through this whole process, I keep reaching out to your team, or I'd watch your video, like I'd go back to the first one. I'm already in, whatever, 19 or 20 videos, but I'd have to go back to like the first 2 or 3 or 4 over and over again sometimes. And I think I even put that in the community, is that I even felt a little bit of guilt or shame, is like I had to go back and rewatch some of the fundamental stuff that I'm like, I thought I did that, but I didn't do it as well as I could have. And one of those was on-ramp. Like I'd say completely skip the on-ramp idea that you teach about. You've got to set those expectations up front. It's okay to do it. And I think maybe I skipped over it, only not intentionally, but as I just went to market and I'd never really thought through how can I set proper expectations on the front end. And because I didn't, there were some things that the client would, because they'll make up their own mind of what they think you said, right?
Yep.
And they'll set their own expectations. But then on the third and fourth, I was like, no, this is it. This is the on-ramp. This is how it works. This is what you have to do. And if you don't, then this will happen. And I set all the expectations. And I guess surprised that there was no pushback. If you set those expectations, if you have a good on-ramp that help them understand how they're going to get value and how it's going to work, they accept it, and they roll. And I think because we do weekly meetings as part of my process, I want them to do stuff and meet with me weekly, just for an hour with the team to touch base to see how we're doing. And I've only had a couple that have rescheduled that, because that was another pushback. I was like, oh, so busy. I don't know if they can get together an hour a week through this process.
Yeah.
But they all do. It's
I love it.
On-ramp part, I think, is very important.
Yeah, the on-ramp is super critical. I mean, just curious, like, from how you used to deliver to how you've been delivering, at least for these, first 4, how are you feeling about business, like, and how things are going?
Just so much more hopeful that, because, and here's where I am with it, is that I'm not done yet. I can, now that I've been doing it for a while and I've got 4 clients and I've got their feedback, that I'm still improving the offer. I'm still improving. I say improving it from the standpoint of looking for ways to pull more out of it, which was surprising. You teach that, and Ryan gave me feedback, is that it can still be too much. So it's a constant looking for ways to pull out of the offer to continue to simplify, and what more can I give them to do so that I don't have to do it, to free up more of my time. So I'm still in that process, but it's taught, it's just about, like you say, doing the reps. If you show up and you do those, so it just gives me a great amount of hope that once this thing really gets fine-tuned, I'm going to be able to deliver a lot of value and help a lot of companies by streamlining processes and technology and helping them create a flow with all their data. And my whole offering, by the way, is all just a plan. At the end of my offering, I'm giving them a strategic plan that has prioritized actionable steps. It's not implementing anything.
It's amazing. Wait, I'm sorry, the microphone broke. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, I'm not implementing anything. What I'm teaching them to do is take an honest look at the current state of their business model, their journeys, their technology assessment. Have they documented processes properly? Do they have the right roles in place? Then I help them walk through a future state. What should the future look like? And how do we bridge the gap between current and future? Let's put that into a strategic plan. Let's pick our vendors. Let's figure out what technology to get rid of, what to bring in. And at the end of that, my ninth step is onboard your employees, which really just means now that we've created a strategic plan, let's educate everyone in our workforce what to expect. And then step 10, if there was one, is implementation of this plan, which I may or may not be a part of. Some of them have asked if I would at least stay on to oversee it, because they want me to be around, which I now have a choice to do that or not. But my whole thing is walking them through how to create this strategic plan for digital transformation without implementing a thing. So
I love
I
it.
was nervous about just the plan. He goes, yeah, here's 10 companies that do that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, when we get you an academy, we'll show you how to design the complimentary back end offer where you can keep advising them.
Yes.
Dude, so that's awesome. I'm so stoked for you. That's amazing. I mean, 4 people in, over 50K. You're not implementing anything. You're clear. I mean, I was just looking at some of your documents. I was like, yeah, you're on like version 8 or something already of just like tweaks. And that's what it's all about. So I'm glad you ended up taking imperfect action. One thing that you had made a comment about that I want to quickly touch on before I ask some shameless promotion questions.
Okay.
Is you had made a comment, I believe it was to Lisa on the team, about like how it had something to do with like the ability to make this progress, but like you didn't actually talk to me. And that was like, can you elaborate on what you meant when you said that?
Oh, yeah. In that, I thought it was awesome. And I think it was kind of a way to give acknowledgement to my hope of my service offering, because we never spoke. You had replied, of course, to a couple of community questions or something, but really, I got support from the coaches that were there. Show up to calls, and I went through the steps. I mean, I felt like I knew you because I'd watched you for a year on YouTube, and then I went through the program. I think I told you, I felt like we were best friends, but we've never spoken. So then, I think it was it was like that team effort. But even if I didn't go, the coaching and stuff was great. Always upbeat and helpful and direct. But all the coaching I ever got directly from you was through the videos. So it's like, I just thought that was amazing, is that you were able to pack that whole thing up in foundation, that I got that much value out of it, but I never spoke to you.
Yeah. And for the record, you could have, if you attended my calls.
Yeah. The jam sessions, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's not a knock that way. It's that you were available to me. But I think the inspirational part for me was that you guys are practicing what you preach, is that you can pack something up and deliver a tremendous amount of value where it doesn't take your time. And that's really what I meant, is that I can do this too. I can
100% you can,
because the stuff in teaching is not, I mean, it's not easy. There's a lot there. But I feel like I have a lot on my side. But I mean, I just went through a program that did it. Shoot, this will be great if I could sell it like this.
Yeah. And you're already a systems person.
Yeah.
If you could like describe what Foundations, like in your own words, how would you describe what Foundations is?
I would say Foundations is a way to take your personal business experience, in whatever your experience is, whatever skills and knowledge that you've acquired over time, that you feel like you've been offering out there as a consultant, or any kind of a way, even if you're working for someone else right now. And if you ever thought there's really no way to pack this thing up in a way that would make sense, or even to be marketable, I would say Foundation is the answer to that. I've not ever seen, and I've researched and I did all kinds of stuff, but Foundation to me is a way that you are going to be challenged and encouraged and be able to pack up things in a way that you can now make marketable, and you can scale and grow your business without killing yourself and without taking a ton of your time.
I love that.
So
I love that.
I see that.
If you were to, if there's someone watching this, and we're also going to have you shamelessly promote yourself, because there's people that will watch this that probably need what you do anyway.
Okay.
But like for those people that are watching this that, you know, are resonating with your story, that maybe have been saying the exact same things of like, oh, like this can't be done for what I do, or, you know, what have you. Like if you had to share a message with that person, you know, someone who's maybe looked at the program, but hasn't signed up yet, like what would you share to them to maybe like inspire them?
Take a chance. The foundation, I mean, all ages, your whole team has been there, done that for a lot of years. The challenges and the naysayers, people like me early on that were just a little bit reluctant to take a step. You guys have seen that, been there, done that, and you know how to get over that. And so you just, I would say to that person, if you're spending a ton of hours doing work for people, and you want to transition that to something that you can scale, and you're worried that if you, let's say you unplug yourself from that process, that customer won't get the value, then you're wrong. I had doubts about that too. If I unplug myself from being the person there all the time or doing all the work, that they would not see the value, and it's just flat wrong. That's false. That going through foundation, you will learn how to keep the value and give them probably more value, because now you're training that company, those business people, how to do some of this stuff without you always having to be on site or online. So you actually provide more value. I would say, man, just anybody do it, take the leap. You guys are phenomenal.
Oh, we appreciate that.
I'm just being honest. I mean, yeah.
Well, we really appreciate that. And I mean, kudos to you. I mean, there was definitely, as you alluded to in your story, multiple moments where you could have chosen to just, you know, step back and say, hey, this isn't for me. And you follow the steps, even despite how uncomfortable it was or unorthodox it was for what your past experience had shown you. So kudos to you for putting in the work. You totally deserve it. Super, super stoked to see where you go from here. Where can people, who should come find out more about you, and where can they go to do so? Okay.
Yeah. I think that the people that really fit what I do are, successful businesses that have been rolling for, 2 to 5 years. They're anywhere from 2 to 10 million. And then the reason is because they're getting to the point they're ready to go to this next level, but they have, for instance, when a company starts, they have QuickBooks and they have a website and they have a CRM system, and none of these things talk to each other, and they're putting in duplicate data, and none of these things are integrated. There's no automation, and they just say, you know what, running this business just seems to be too hard. Those are the ones I love to work with, is to say we can really figure this out. We can map it together, and you just go to flowagile.com. FLOWAGILE, flowagile.com.
All right. Well, guys, check out Mike there. Mike, thanks again so much for spending your time with us, sharing your story. Really appreciate it. And for those watching, do what Mike said, lean in, and we'll chat with you guys soon.
Yeah, sounds good.